Hello, Pre-Algebra. Today, not gonna lie, we've got kind of a doozy. Today we're talking about surface area of prisms and cylinders. Now, the reason why this is a little bit difficult is because it involves 3D objects. So I've got this one just as an example. We'll go over that in just a second. First off, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about lateral surface area and then later just the entire surface area. The lateral surface area is just talking about the sides. You might know a lateral pass in football. That's when you have to pass the ball to your side. In this case, the lateral area is, sorry, that's my candle. It's just the side of it. We're not talking about the top or the base. We're just talking about the sides. So again, when we're talking about the lateral surface area, it's the sum, right? You add that together, of all lateral faces. So here's an example. We have here this box. Now, as an example, this is the base here on the bottom. And so what we're going to do is we're going to solve for the area of this side, the area of this side, and this side. These make up the lateral surface area. And it'll make sense in just a second. So the lateral surface area, here's our equation. L, lateral surface area, equals P times H. So the lateral surface area is equal to the product, so we're going to multiply these two together, of the perimeter of the base. So you need to figure out the perimeter of the base and the height of the prism, or the polygon in this case. So here what I did was my sides are 3, my longer sides are 4, so, and my height is 1. So the perimeter of this base is 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4. That's 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 4 is 11, plus another 3 is 14. So the base, or the perimeter of the base for this guy, is 14 times the height, 1. So the lateral surface area is 14 units squared. So imagine I had, let's see, let me take this and just kind of rip. Oh, come on, you're supposed to be a nice little tear. And I had 14 of these squares. Well, I'd be able to cover it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'd have 14 square units all the way around the side. That's what this is talking about. Now, this might be a little bit hard to visualize. So I'm going to have plenty of examples. Like I said, this is going to be long notes. I've got 3 pages of notes, but again, I'm explaining it thoroughly. So here's another example. So we're going to find the lateral surface area for this prism. This is a triangular prism. Okay. And let's see, let me do this. Right, I've got my formula again. But here I've got the base, 5, 3, and 4. So I drew a picture over here of the base. This is our base. And this is our height. So height equals 8 centimeters. And my base has the perimeter of 5 plus 3 plus 4. So I'm going to add these together to get the perimeter of the base. Then I'm going to multiply that by my height. 5 plus 3 plus 4, or 3 plus 4 plus 5, is 12. And when we multiply that by height, we get 96 centimeters squared. Let me show you what this is talking about. So this side here, right, with a base of 3, would have the surface area, or the area of 24. This side here, again, if we just did base times height, would be 32. And again, this is centimeters squared. And then on the back side, it would be 40 centimeters squared. So what we're doing, rather than solving for this area plus this area plus that area, 40 plus 32 plus 24 is 96. So it's the same answer, it's the same result, it's just a different process. So you can, and again, that's just for the lateral surface area. That's for the area around the box, or in this case, around the triangular prism. And that shows us the lateral surface area. Now, what if we ask for the total surface area? So the total surface area is the sum of all areas of the surface. That's lateral sides, and 2 bases. Okay. So what this is the surface area, the total surface area, is equal to the lateral area, which we talked about here, plus the area of 2 bases, right? In this case, we've got the top and the bottom, or with this guy, we've got the top and the bottom, right? They're both the same area because that's how prisms work. Okay, so again, we're going to talk about this guy up here. For the surface area of the above prism, we already figured out what L is. That's 96 centimeters squared. Now, the reason why we're doing 6, well, we've got base times height, divide by 2 because it's a triangle, so 3 times 4, divide by 2 is 6, times 2 because that's our base. Let me show that again. So our base for the triangle equals base times height divided by 2, right? This is the area for a triangle. This is how geometry builds on top of itself, right? Because we talked about this, I believe it was last chapter. Otherwise, I know you guys have talked about this before. And little reminder, your base and height must be perpendicular. Or have a right angle. So we know these two have the right angle. So I'm going to choose these values for my base and height. Notice how it's the little base and little height. So as not to confuse with the big H or the big B, Okay, 3 times 4 divided by 2. Equals 6. So my base equals 6 centimeters squared. I'm going to put that value in there. So now the total surface area. So if I wanted to cover this whole thing with wrapping paper, this is what it's going to take. 108 centimeters squared of wrapping paper. Okay, So stick with me. I've got a few more examples. This next one is a different kind of prism. This is more like this guy here, a rectangular prism. We're going to find the surface area of this guy. So I've got a rectangular prism, but instead of the units that I've drawn on this guy, we've got 5 by 12 by 8. So when I draw it out, it has the length, the width, and the height. Actually, I'm going to call that capital H. Okay. So we could find the perimeter of the base. This is calling the whatever. The perimeter of the base is going to be, so they were calling this the lateral area, or the base. So the lateral area is going to be this around here, right, if we were to tie a bow that way. So the perimeter is going to be 12 plus 12 plus 5 plus 5, which is 34 centimeters. And we're going to multiply that by the height, resulting in 272 centimeters squared. For our lateral area. Now, our surface area, now what we need to stay focused on is which is the lateral area and which is the base. And that can be confusing, especially when we have 3 of the same thing. So we need to keep our units together. These are what we used for the base. So perimeter of the base, we use these guys. So therefore the area of the base is going to have to be 12 times 5. Let's see. Yep, so this is the L. And then, good gravy, what happened here? What happened here? Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, so I used that as the base. 534. 12 times 8. 5. Okay, so 34 times, so yep, 5 times 12. Okay. So we've got all of our math. Yeah. Now, let's move on with a different example because this one's just messy, messy, messy. Okay. So let's say we have a cube with the edge of 5 foot 5. Now, one thing to know with cubes is all sides are equal. Okay, so I'm going to draw it out. Right? It doesn't matter which one I call length, width, or height. But my perimeter is going to be 22. Right? These are all feet. So my lateral sides are going to be 121 feet squared. So that's multiplying the perimeter of my base times the height. Now, if I were to add that to the area of my base is going to be 5.5 times 5.5, which is 30.25. Times 2, right? When I plug that in here, 30.25 times 2 is 60.5. Add that to my lateral side, so my surface area equals 181.5 feet squared. Okay. Final page, because we will have to do cylinders. Now a cylinder is something like this, right? So we've got a circle that comes up kind of like a water bottle or this candle here. Now the thing with cylinders is we're going to use our circumference. Rather than our perimeter, because circumference is the perimeter of a circle. Okay. Now the lateral area, that's going to show us this area around. That's going to be the lateral area. So let's say we've got this guy here. Our circle has the radius of 3 inches, and it has a height of 9 inches. The circumference is 2 times pi times r. So now we're going to plug it in. Now, a helpful hint is to just keep the pi. It's kind of like the friend that we keep on that just kind of tags along. Some of you might say, "Oh yeah, like my little brother." Well, pi just kind of we're going to keep it tagging along until the end. So we are going to multiply our height times our circumference. When we plug in 3 here, we get 2 times 3, which is 6 pi. So we've got 6 pi, our circumference, times 9, our height. So our lateral surface area is 54 pi. Now, again, it's okay to leave it like 54 pi. You can multiply that out, right? And get something like 54 times 3.14. Or you could just keep it as 54 pi. That's totally fine. Now, if we were to do the surface area of the cylinder, what I would need to do is find the area of these circles. And I'm going to need to multiply that by 2. Okay? So the area is going to be, my radius is 3, 3 squared is 9, and again, I'm going to keep that pi until the end. So I'm going to have 54 pi plus 2 times 9 pi is 18 pi, leaving me with 72 pi. Now, if I were to multiply that out, I would get a surface area equivalent to 226.1 inches squared. So that would be, let's say, it would cover all of this object. Okay, hope that helps. Guys, if you have questions, please ask. I know this is another long video, but otherwise, know that I love you, and I'll talk to you guys later.